Welcome, friends. Welcome back. Episode 8, finally. I took a little more than a year off there. Moved a couple of times, had to get reestablished and all that fun stuff. And wanted to do this update video for like the last 3 months. And just got to a point now to where I'm like, okay, I'm pretty comfortable with how I'm going to have to situate everything. So, updates. I've got a bunch of gear to go through and review. A couple of single cuts, couple of metal 80s metal guitars, I call them. I got a T-type. That's a really good one. Let's see. A couple of amps. A distortion pedal that I picked up has turned into my favorite distortion box. Get to that a little bit later. But also in that time, I've been watching a lot of the pros and seeing what they're doing, and trying to up my game just a little bit. Not going overboard here, just a little bit. Went with a collar mic, a la Ola. That's funny, a la Ola. And then to get rid of the hum. Those old videos had a hum. It was kind of haunting. And then now I'm using I've got an orange solid state amp. One of the amps I'm going to actually review. This thing's just off the chain. And you can see it's mic'd. Throw up a picture of that. Other than that, just wanted to update people. Yeah, I'm still here. I'm still around. And if I do one a month, which is probably about what I can do, because I actually have a normal job. Like a lot of these guys, I think that's their whole gig, which is cool. Don't get me wrong. These guys are pros, and there's a reason. But I figured I'd get everybody updated. I've got stuff coming, a lot more content. I'm going to get deep into some reviews on some gear. And we'll still do some wiring stuff. I don't have the whiteboard today. I'm not sure if I'm bringing it back or not, but besides the microphone situation and using an outboard program for that, we did a green screen. And yeah, don't bust my balls too hard. I know it hasn't been ironed. We'll iron it out later as episodes go on. We're going to up the production a little bit. Every time we're going to try at least to up it a little bit. But as far as updates go, I figured, well, what better update than this? And most of you remember this. This is probably a couple of episodes ago where I built this thing out of like spare parts and a husk I paid less than like $200 for. So when you move twice, you end up going through all your stuff. So we got back to Cali, and I'm going through some boxes, and I come across this box of electronic parts, guitar parts. And I'm like, oh, what's this? 4 or 5 sets of pickups. There was some Seymour Duncans in there. The Mayhem set. The original blades on the Zerberus, the bamboo guitar. I think that was my last video out of before this was the Zerberus one. I actually put quad rails back in that, not the originals. I found a set of Kramers though, like pretty cheap, so I kind of jumped on it just to get the quad rails back in there. And it sounds amazing. I should go through that one again. But while I'm in this box, I find this box of pickups, and I flip it over, and they say Gibson on the back, and I'm like thinking, what? Oh, that's right. I bought this Black Studio that somebody like played the hell out of, and plays really well. And it's definitely road worn. But it just sounds great. And I ended up putting bare knuckles in that guitar and boxed up these Gibsons and never even thought nothing about it. So when we got back here, I was like, you know what? I've got Gibson original 2008 Gibson studio pickups. So yeah, update. We threw the pickups into the old custom-less reel. They sound amazing. They sound a little better than the GFS. I mean, to be honest, there's a lot more clarity in them. They're not muffled at all. They're not compressed at all. Some of the GFS stuff gets a little that way, but it's cool. I mean, you want to buy a cheap metal pickup, GFS. So anyway, those went in. Then I get a hold of, I'm on Frank's site. We all remember Frank. And there's a picture of Frank. And on his site, he's got what he calls the light speed tailpiece, and it's for the old TOM setup. So I actually talked him into sending me one of these across the ocean. And we won't discuss price because you can actually go on his website and check it out, and he's still got a few of these left. But this is it right here. Coolest thing ever. One of the few things I've ever bolted on a guitar that actually added resonance, for lack of a better term. I don't think it changed the frequency spectrum at all, but resonance, hot spots on the fretboard. Had a Charvel years ago, like every note on that board was a hot spot. This actually added hot spots to this guitar. It was kind of unreal. But what it is billet aluminum. So it's lightweight, but the mass of it, I think is about, it's got to be at least double, probably closer to 3 times the mass of those old TOMs. And what's funny is, you know, you come up with an idea like this and then you have some made. And most of the guitars with this setup are Les Pauls, Gibsons. And the traditionalists aren't going to go for that. So he's still got a few of these sitting around his shop if you want one. You know, I don't know, Christmas time and all that. But I figured, you know, if we're going to bump up production, we're going to have to test everything out. So this episode coming back as an update with this whole bridge system in here. And mic and everything separate now. And yeah, I won't forget the green screen. But I figured I'd just play this thing a little bit. There we go. Now there's still going to be a little bit of bleed because we're technically in the same room with the amp, but there is a buffer in between us, and it is mic'd up with a SM57 over there. It's just great reverb in there. It's digital reverb in an orange amp, solid state amp. So we'll kick on the Keeley here. So it just lingers now. It didn't. It used to not do that. Look at that overtone just wrapping on there. Before this tailpiece, nothing like that. Lightest speed tailpiece. Yeah, it's brilliant. And Frank just an innovator. But you know what an item to pick to try to change the whole outlook of how these things go when you're dealing with a guitar that's been around since the 50s that nobody wants to change anything on. Even the crappy tuners, when they buy the new ones, are like, oh, we got to keep the original tuners on it. No, you don't. Trust me. We're going to get to that in a later episode for sure. Yeah, just sounds great. And it's this. It changed the whole game. I put the pickups in and was running it before this came. And I was like, okay, the pickups sound better. They're a little more open, a little more clarity, a little more responsive to dynamics. So that was cool. But as far as getting that overtone sustain, I guess you'd call it, where you can hear 3 notes but you're only playing 1 kind of deal, this guitar has never done that on any fret, let alone, I'd say, 2/3 of the fretboard now. So it was a complete innovation. I think it was a complete accident. I'm not sure about his R&D on it when it comes to the physics of resonance in a solid body guitar. I mean, if anybody knows, it'd be Frank. But I wanted to update people on that and let them know I'm back. And we're going to keep things rolling along for at least another year. I've got at least another year. If I put out one a month, I've got, probably 12, 13 episodes that I can pull right now. And I've got a whole list of them. Original intent for this episode, the next one after the Zerbers, I was going to do a whole episode on pedal boards. And a funny thing happened. I called a few of my friends and said, hey, send me a picture of your pedal board. They all sent pictures. So if I did one just on pedal boards, I'd have to split it up into like 2 or 3 videos. So what I thought instead was at the end of an episode, I'll throw somebody's pedal board up and I'll try to go through and tell you what's in it and give you my thoughts on it. I don't have a lot of pictures to do that. I mean, I could stretch that out for probably 6 episodes, 7 episodes, but with any luck, cross my fingers, by then I'll have a few more subscribers that also have pedal boards and will email those to me. I'm going to try to get the email into the link. I'm working production, trying to bump that production for you folks. But today, since we're nearing the end and we got the update on the old custom less real, it just plays spectacular. I've played some really nice Gibsons and some really high level top shelf Eppies, and I don't know, man. Sound wise and playing wise, put those two together, I think this one's pretty much, if not even, has got them beat. So today, in pedal board corner, we'll call it. We'll just start out calling it that. It's an old adjective. It's corner. We're going to show it, and I'm going to try to run through it the best I can. I wrote notes. Let's see here, notes, and so that way I can pop it up. See, this is some behind the green screen crap right here. This pedal board comes to us from Dan. Now I knew Dan, hell of a guy. Worked with him for a short period of time, but stayed friends. And just an amazing player. A firm grasp of all that encompasses not only music but the guitar itself. And he'll probably correct me at some point if I'm wrong, but I think he used to give classical lessons. I think that was his gig for a while. So that's tough enough, just not only knowing and being proficient at that kind of guitar music, but being able to pass it on that's a patience game that I don't want to play ever. So I barely had the patience to teach myself how to play this thing, let alone somebody else. But now I've actually been in a few jams where he's there. And yeah, we're the two that are kind of standing off to the side, just like watching each other's fretboards. We're not even watching what we're doing. We're like watching the other guy kind of thing. So yeah, he's a great dude. Now, this board is pretty unbelievable. I'm not going to get into adding up monetarily what's in a board, because sometimes you can find pedals used and or you can trade for stuff, so you never know how much is really invested. But if I did put money stamps on it, this would be one of the most expensive boards I think I've seen, because he's got some stuff on here. All right, I wrote the EB volume tuner. That was like a new thing, like I don't know, 2 or 3 years ago, and it was brilliant. He had a tuner built in to the volume. You just pull it back all the way and the tuner takes over, and the screen's right there where you put your foot. But here's the kicker on this one. It also, that same little LED screen actually tells you where your level is when you're moving the treadle, which I always thought was weird because it's under your foot. You can't see it while you're moving it. So I thought that was a small design flaw on their part. I mean, don't get me wrong, EB's the best. I have an old EB volume pedal, just the old 25K or whatever, mono, Nothing special. And that thing is a beast. It's a tank. Never had to put a new string in it or any of that craziness. But he's got it at the end. I mean, to me, it looks like that. Dan, if you're out there and you see this, please shoot me a text or hit up my email that's in the link. It looks like it's at the end of the chain, which I found kind of weird, because, you know, what happens if you accidentally leave a chorus on or any kind of modulation effect that's gonna screw with the tuning. And generally, I mean, this is just me and most of the guys that I've watched over the years, we usually put that at the beginning of the chain. Excuse me. So it basically takes the place of the one on your guitar, so you're not reaching down for your knob all the time. You've got it right there at your feet, you know. And so it looks to me like it's on the end of the chain. So beyond that, badass pedal. But if you watch his signal chain, he's going into a Keeley compressor, which is, yeah, top notch, into a J Rocket Archer. I think that's their Klon. And then into the Dude. I'm not sure what the Dude is. I've read a lot about it, seen a bunch of them. Not real sure the circuitry. I don't know if it's a TS variant or maybe a Governor variant or something like that. But it's really popular. Not a lot of knobs, you know. But does the job. I mean, I see used ones go for, you know, 150 to 2 on reverb constantly. He's got the Wampler Ratsbane Mini, which is nice. It barely takes up any space, and it does all the rat noises. So you want to diamond that rat from Judas Priest, you know, 35 years ago, 40 years ago. It's gonna do it, and it's gonna do the new stuff too. But yeah, Wampler, I'm a big fan of Wampler, and Keeley also. I'm running a Keeley right here. Keeley filaments. But then he goes from that into a Brown Amplification Protein Dual OD. I don't even know what that is. I know who Brown Amplification is, but the Protein Dual OD, I'm guessing it's like a steel stringer or some kind of Dumble variant in that kind of I hate using that word, but transparent overdrive thing. But it's 2 of them, and I think you can actually run them simultaneously on that, which is awesome. But I didn't even look that up, but I know those are expensive, Dan. I know they are. And then we got a Walrus Julia. That's one of the nicest choruses. Just, you can pull every chorus out of that thing that you've ever heard. The only one I think that would even come close to it is the Nirvana one. Escapes me who makes it now. That's okay. It'll flash at the bottom of the screen. That's when the kid will come back. He'll tell me who made that. And then we got a polychrome flanger. I know nothing about that. I'm sure it's a great flanger. And then here we are, another J Rocket Tranquilizer Phaser. That's cool. I've actually played through one of those. Wampler Tape Echo. One of the best artificial tape echoes around. Wampler is one of my favorite. In fact, that's who did the that's who did the Nirvana, was Wampler. So it's an Echo Vibe? No. Yeah, it's Echo Vibe. And then on the end is another J Rocket. So if he doesn't have an endorsement by now from either Wampler or J Rocket, there's a problem. Because yeah, the last one is the J Rocket Boing Reverb. Those are spectacular. It sounds like the big giant tanks in the old Fender Twins. It's that just humongous tank that took up the whole footprint of the bottom of the amp back in the day. And yeah, that's a 5 out of 5 on that pedal board, and it's clean. It's all clean as hell. And yeah, I'm wondering, because I got that photo so long ago, I'm wondering what it looks like now. Because yeah, as guitar players, and even bass players, we're constantly going through stuff, you know. So at one point, I'm sure the Keeley compressor will go away, and something else will show up in its place, you know. But yeah, Dan, great job on that one, and great photography too. I hope everybody can actually see it. It came out really nice. So give me another month, and I'm gonna put out another one. I'm gonna do a straight up demo. I'll do a guitar. I'll figure out which one I want to put out there, and they're all, by the way, pretty new. I think 4 of them are 2021s and one's a 2020, so they're all pretty recent. And I'm gonna be really behind like everybody else that does this kind of stuff when it comes to this stuff. But what's cool has been able to sit back and watch and see a lot of the reviews on some of the stuff that I'm going to be doing. And we'll go from there. Shout out to everybody on the Central Coast, Colorado, Florida, New Jersey, Northern California. Shout out. Love you guys. And we're gonna see you soon. Thank you. Till next time.